Well, hello. I want to use this opportunity to give you an update here, a little more extended version on just the tropics and what might happen here in Hampton Roads, what's happening with our friends and family down in places like Florida or in the Caribbean. And you can see the storm system continuing to organize. A couple of things we look for in a very mature developing storm versus one that's very unorganized. A couple of things. You want the bright white clouds. If you want a big storm, you want the bright white clouds indicating they're really high up in the atmosphere with thunderstorm activity right near the center, and that's what we certainly have. You don't have any of the blue showing up, indicating very dry air moving in. You want these bands, the bands indicating, again, really solid structure to the system. It's vertically stacked, not the bottom 50 miles away from where the upper level center is, because when they're tilted, it's sort of like the eye is like a chimney. You wouldn't have the air going up your chimney very well if it was at an angle. Well, straight up and down, you get the most bang for your buck, essentially. And that's what we have. This storm is now vertically aligned. All the outflow coming out, so it is now a hurricane, in fact a Category 2 storm, and still rapidly strengthening, expected to become at least a major hurricane, Category 3, and very likely even a 4. And Florida, question is where, but Florida is almost definitely going to bear the brunt of the impact with this system. So let's talk about it. Again, Category 2 right now. By tomorrow afternoon, Category 4. Well, tomorrow, this coming morning at 2 a.m., it's supposed to be a Category 3 just hitting land. Then it'll hold as a 3 till it gets out over open water, and then strengthen into a 4 just a few hours later. 130 mile per hour winds. Pink is hurricane warnings. Orange is tropical storm warnings. So it makes a big difference, obviously, if you're a little bit away from that center. And that's why places like the Florida Keys up to, I don't know, roughly Fort Myers, let's say, those are just the orange, indicating tropical storm warnings. And then the pink is hurricane warnings. Eventually, that storm sits just off the Florida coastline, slows down, tide after tidal surge, high tides occurring, several of them really causing some significant flooding, and then it eventually dies out or basically falls apart, turns into a regular area of low pressure with maybe 30 mile per hour winds as it comes up somewhere near us Saturday night and on into Sunday. Computer models, very good agreement, like yesterday, only in the first part of it, and then an unusually large spread, days 3, 4, and 5. Storm, again, a couple of them still have it hitting near Tampa and then cutting across Florida, maybe even getting out over the open water. Only one does that, but you can see most of them have it a little more to the west. These are the two main computers that we look at, what's called the global models. The GFS is the American model, red circles here are the European, all of them in agreement right there over western Cuba. And this is interesting. If you were watching me yesterday, it was the exact opposite. The American model was back right about where I'm pointing, maybe 50, 60 miles offshore. And the European, which is now offshore in this picture, was actually right over Tampa. So they have switched literally in the past 12 hours where they think the storm's going. And they continue, both of them then, to turn it more north and eventually even northwest as it dies out. So don't have your friends down to the south focus on the exact eye. This is a huge storm. The winds are going to be spreading out as it makes landfall, and we're going to have to deal with, again, torrential rain. We don't want flooding rains around here, but we'd love to see the remnants because we are in a severe drought on the eastern shore and a moderate drought for the rest of Hampton Roads, while central Virginia, sort of east central North Carolina, is just abnormally dry. When will we get the rain? It looks like, again, right now the thinking is late Friday night, Saturday, maybe some heavy downpours even continue into Sunday. We'll continue to watch this over the next couple of days. The wind should be pretty breezy. I expect it to bring tides up a bit, but certainly nothing even remotely close to a huge problem for us as that storm moves up the coast.